Okay, I'll go to the second lecture, and then once again, I'd like to share the PowerPoint screen, and then continue my lecture about the global business development. Before starting lecture two, I want to make a short review of lecture one. Lecture one tells you the globalization and global entrepreneurship. And then mainly I focus on three points in concern. First one is a new change of global environment. Due to globalization, nowadays that globalization of business is a one of phenomenon as a manager you have to tackle with. And then the other, even though the globalization and then with the help of digital technology, born global or born digital company. I mean, they're just skipping the domestic oriented business, directly start up their business from the perspectives of a global business could be possible. But in spite of this, managers mindset remains into the domestic oriented business. Even though the situation of business environment has changed a lot due to globalization, but mindset has got a step-by-step approach, moving from the ethnocentric mind to polycentric mind, and finally geocentric mind. So finally, we have to know as a business manager is that when you are the point of concern, I mean that the criterion of your decision point should be moved on faster than you guess. The ethnocentric mind should be moved on to the polycentric mind, and geocentric mind is the attained goal of your mindset evolution. And new framework of international business. Here, I'd like to compare the international business perspectives with global business development perspectives. As in international business, traditional classic framework is mainly focused on the non-economic factor analysis as a source of cost sector of doing business internationally. And the other one is that they only focused on entry strategy, how to enter into the market, how to enter into the business in the foreign country. They only focused on there. But oppositely, in the concept of global business perspective, which is recently launched a new framework of global business perspective, they focused on the non-economic factor as a source of diversity, source of innovation, gaining the core competence in the global business perspective. And another thing, the global business perspective focused on is the how to implement their business in the local community, how to stabilize their business and sustainable their business in the local countries within the framework of the social commitment or social contribution. That is the difference, different in terms of business approaches. And finally, I comment about the global entrepreneurship in ASEAN, and then even though the ASEAN, there are many difficulties to gain together, but there is a problem to solve in terms of the racial conflicts, and then income inequality, and then sex inequality, something like that. But even though, in spite of all the risk factors, economic growth of 5% is expected in the major ASEAN members, and especially focusing on the hospitality industry. There's a combination of tourism and the food and hotel industry, something like that. Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam, that is the main hub of hospitality industry. And as far as hospitality industry is concerned, global startup could be more feasible in those areas. Restaurant, tourism, hotels, or something like those kind of industry sectors could lead the rest of the industry in Asian countries. Okay, now in lecture 2, I want to focus more on the how to develop business in the ASEAN countries. And it tells about the design thinking for business development. And then mainly 3 parts I want to make a stress. The first one is what is the design thinking for business in ASEAN countries? So what kind of business model could be feasible, not to mention of gaining profits in the areas as well as contributing for the social vision or social value. And then there are 2 traditional approaches. One is international relations or international institute approaches for the less developed countries to be developed. And the other perspective is development approaches, which is quite recently introduced. And then this AIMS program designed at applying business development approaches in reality. And what is the difference between 2 approaches? And then finally, I'd like to show you business cases and then how to apply a business canvas model into designing business development. This is a point that I want to stress in lecture 2. Okay, first, what is design thinking? Design thinking is a concept, business concept initiation, how to derive a business concept as a result of environmental analysis. That is design thinking. Conceptually, abstractly, what kind of point of business concern could be derived. That is a design thinking for business in ASEAN market. More than anything else, economic perspective analysis that FDI and corporate investment trend shows the strong sign of business opportunity in ASEAN market. Inflow of foreign direct investment in ASEAN increased 42% in 2021 to $174 billion. It is a pre-pandemic record level. And the rebound, this kind of rebound, the huge amount of global capital moving to ASEAN countries nowadays underscore the resilience of the region, which means might be expected a faster economic recovery in ASEAN region, which has been battered by successive wave of the pandemic. The recovery in ASEAN compares favorably with 30% average growth in developing countries. And then 6 member states out of 10 member states recorded a rise in inflows. In 2 inflows remain flat. Even though 10 ASEAN members, 6 members rise in inflows, foreign direct capital inflows, and 2 inflows remained flat. So out of 10 member states, 8 members shows a positive sign of capital investment. This contrasted with the situation in 2020, only 2 member states recorded a rise. So quite different from their situation in 2020. In 2021, strong sign of investment promotion, inbound investment into Asia. This means that huge amount of global capital flow in to the ASEAN countries. And then ASEAN remained the top recipient of foreign direct investment in developing region, second after China in 2021, and continue to be an engine of growth around the world. So, quite recently, so-called China exit is a situation due to economic battle between the United States and China. They become an economic rivalry against each other. So as a result of this kind of China exit situation, huge amount of capital, they can exit. From China. And this huge amount of capital needs some source of operating their money outside of China, so-called China Plus One strategy. Even though China has an attractiveness in terms of a market base, but as a manufacturing facility, other than China Plus One, the multinational enterprise, they need some manufacturing basis other than China, because due to US and China economic battle, economic rivalry, economic war, so against each other, the United States prohibit some product comes from China, and then the vice versa. China build up a barrier import from the US part or component or something like that. So other than China, what kind of manufacturing basis as a candidate? Definitely, ASEAN countries might be one of the solutions in the framework of China plus one, which means now it's a good opportunity. And then there are strong data, strong sign of positive opportunity. So this shows that the flows of foreign direct investment into ASEAN market in 2020 drastically decreased 30% minus, but in 2021 increased 42%, and then ASEAN share of global foreign direct investment moves upward more than almost 12%. 12% of global foreign direct investment goes into ASEAN region. And I comment about the global supply chain. Moved into regional supply chain. Which means before the COVID-19 pandemic, there is a global supply chain. There is a one line of manufacturing chain of processes around the world. But due to COVID-19 pandemic, we experienced the risk factors of those kind of global supply chain. In one area, there is a lockdown happens, but then all the global supply chain has to be stopped. So in a way to avoid this kind of supply chain lockdown, they make a chunk, economic block here and there, like this. And then within economic block, regional block, they establish regional supply chain. So in that case, in some areas, there happens a lockdown here, but A or B area, it could operate properly, even though there is a lockdown in the area of C, something like that. So global supply chain make a transition into the regional supply chain due to COVID-19. Now, among regional supply chain, who could be the winner? Who could be the leader? I mean, the economic power around the world, they try to be the center of this regional supply chain. So, in case of China, I am the manufacturer of the world, so I might be at the center of this kind of regional hub. That is the RCEP. And no, Japan, I might be at the center of the hub in a regional supply chain. And then this is one of regional economic integration, CPTPP. Norway, definitely till now, the United States should be the hub of this regional supply chain within the framework of IPF. As you may have heard about Pacific Indo-Pacific economic framework work. So due to it is the time of make a transition from global supply chain into regional supply chain. So many economic power, something like a US, Japan, and the China, they try to make a rivalry against each other to be the leader among regional supply chain. Which means this kind of economic battle between US and China might be prolonged afterward. So in this sense that many multinationals they try to make a China plus one strategy, and then they try to make an exit from China market and then establish a new manufacturing facilities near to China. Why they have to install a manufacturing facility near to China? Even though as a manufacturing base, China have to be make an exit, but another perspective of China economy is a market base. From the perspective of global market, China, one of major market around the world. So as a market base, multinationals have to make an entry into the China market some lapse of time. When this kind of economic battle solved, then that China should be emerged again as a market base around the world. So there is a China, and then next to China, make an exit from China manufacturing base, and instead they try to set a plan. When some lapse of time, they have to enter into a Chinese market as a market base. So near the China economic basin, they want to make a new supply chain, make a new distribution channel, and then new marketing channel, something like that. That is why ASEAN countries nowadays, they got huge international capital, inbound capital into those countries. And then this is a typical example. Hankook Technology, United States, and then Temic, and then Cyprus Manufacturing, Denso, Japan. They want to make a foreign direct investment into ASEAN countries. And then Schneider Electronic France, Honda Japan, and Nidec Japan. They also think about more and more direct investment into ASEAN region. So especially Honda Japan and Nidec Japan, they think more on the expanding ASEAN market. And what kind of drivers to promoting foreign direct investment into ASEAN countries? And this shows one of risk factors. Even though ASEAN countries, they got a huge strong point like this, and then good opportunities in ASEAN market as a source of inward foreign direct investment. This type shows another aspect of risk factors in financial market. You know, project financing. Project financing is a way of gathering capital, but not the equity participation, but bond, by issuing bond, I mean the stock investment. But project financing is make a loan from the bank. So this kind of international project financing, even though they make a huge investment into the Asian market, but not by way of capital, I mean the stock investment or equity participation, but they try to issuing a bond, and then make a loan, and then make an investment into ASEAN market. There is international project financing. And international project financing increased by 73% in the ASEAN market as a way of foreign direct investment. This is very risky factors, which means when the interest rate in the bank increased a small portion, that it could generate kind of cost of capital increase, and then it could might be ending a business disaster, which means that when the interest rate increase, that it could increase the cost of business, which means that the profit margin decreased. So due to the burden of liability, paying liability, that huge business already invested in the ASEAN market might got a risk factors of default. So due to those kind of liability increase, and then due to those kind of paying bond, paying paying mortgage or paying interest liability, that it could be very volatile in the capital market or financial market in ASEAN market. So in this sense, within 2 or 3 years, the financial market in ASEAN countries, they might be influenced by the very volatile factors, which might be exposed to the financial crisis, something like that. Anyway, what is the key drivers of recovery? And the several factors led to the robust upturn. Many manufacturing sectors, many industry sectors in ASEAN market shows a strong sign of upturn. They include rising investment across the different modality, strong rebound in manufacturing, corporate investment focusing on capacity expansion to boost the supply chain, and then significant investment from key source countries and invest in infrastructure related activities, including digital economy. And this is now a situation which happens in ASEAN market. It's a strong sign of upturn. So this is why a huge amount of foreign investment moves into ASEAN market. And announced greenfield investment project numbers rose by 12%. Wow, what a marvelous performance. There are two types of foreign direct investment. One is greenfield investment, which means making new business entity, establishing new business factory, something like that. There is a greenfield investment. And the one is cross-border M&A. Some scholar comments about that brownfield investment. Rather than establishing new entity, a new business factory in some countries, they purchase existing company. That is a cross-border M&A. So rather than cross-border M&A, greenfield investment creates more job opportunity, which means increased employment rate, and then we could contribute to the economic growth. And it rose by 12% within ASEAN countries, with most investment in manufacturing area and infrastructure related activities. 3 industries: electronics and electronic equipment, energy and gas supply, and information and communication. These areas are prominent and then promising industry of the oil industry in Asian countries, and then huge amount of money, global capital into the electronics and electrical equipment, energy and gas supply, and the information and communication areas. And this industry could you have to think more, and then you have to analyze more as a business opportunity when you start up your business, or when you try to find a job opportunity in ASEAN region. And cross-border M&A, another type of foreign direct investment is cross-border M&A. Cross-border M&A declined in numbers, but rose significantly in value from minus $4.7 billion in 2020, decreased a lot, but almost $50 billion because of a few mega deals, including the $74 billion special purpose acquisition in the Grab, Singapore companies, and then ultimate growth. So we already know what Grab service is, and then how huge sales volume of Grab in Asian countries. And then this kind of big mega deal that cross-border M&A also increased a lot. Then announced the international project finance value increased, even though it is one of way of financing money to establish the project in an economy. But I already comment about that the risk factors of international project finance, when other things being equal, when the interest rate goes up, then project financing project could be more volatile to the financial uncertainty or financial changes, something like that. And broad-based broad-based rise in foreign direct investment, manufacturing played a key role in 2021. Why? I already comment about due to the China exit, Chinese manufacturing exodus happens. So definitely, with the help of a China plus one strategy of the multinationals, that huge of industrial capital move into the ASEAN market. That is why the foreign direct investment in manufacturing sector increased a lot in ASEAN countries. Strong investment in manufacturing and finance and some service industry associated with the rapidly growing digital economy and industry 4.0 activities were the main industry drivers. And other than the four industry, electric and the electric equipment, energy, gas supply, and information and communication industry, that digital economy also shows strong promoters to injecting huge foreign capital into these areas. And then among digital industry sectors that there is a case. What is that? Investment in manufacturing recorded a strong growth, 134% increase to 45 billion. Industries such as electric vehicle as a new means of transportation, and electronics and biomedical and the pharmaceutical, finance and banking remain the largest foreign direct investment recipient industry, 22% growth to $57 billion in ASEAN countries, something like that. So, other than traditional industry areas, newly growing industries such as EV supply chain and then biomedical and pharmaceutical industry also gaining momentum of growth in terms of foreign direct investment into ASEAN countries. And as a result, data shows the manufacturing industry, the increase of foreign direct investment between 2020 and 2021 by 134%. And then five industry accounts for 80% of total foreign direct investment. Huge amount of foreign direct investment focused on five major industry sectors. And electronics and electrical equipment side increased a lot. And this data shows that 2019, 2020, and 2021, between 2019 and 2020, there increased huge 5.7% to by 12.4%. It's a huge increase, but comparatively speaking, that between 2020 and 2021 is a more wider expansion of foreign direct investment and increased this kind of huge volume. And as a strategically promising industry in the future is electric vehicle supply chain is a manufacturing industry, but it is not traditional manufacturing area. It is a new promising industry in the future, and especially in Asian areas. EV supply chain, it is a very feasible and a very promising and then optimistic business forecast is a EV supply chain. And we already know that according to supply chain framework, this is the upstream area and this is the downstream area. And then from the upstream to downstream, among Asian countries, it is well equipped from one country to the other. It could be feasible within the Asian framework. So the upstream nickel mining, Indonesian, Philippines might be that good alternative, and then smelting Indonesia, and then battery parts and component Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and then production Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, something like this. And then production base, and then adjust and adoption base like that, they could specialize in their field in terms of EV supply chain, like here. And as a result, multinationals, they make a huge investment into Asian region, and then try to make an exit from China like this. This is an example, and then I just show you this kind of example. So a lot of money make an exit from China, and then a lot of money goes into Asian region. So now it's a good time for you to make a startup. Now, that's a big business. This kind of big business is a capital movement among multinationals to multinationals, and then even multinational, they themselves make a transform from one position to the other. But what about small business? When the major business, I mean the major capital make an investment into some area, we already know the side effect. We already know the what is it? The trickling down effect, and then becomes wider into the expanding the business opportunity near to the major capital investment. Now it is a good chance for you to make a small business. You are the person who have a full liability of business development in Asian countries. To gain a small business advantages, now's the time. In Asian countries, let's do the environmental analysis, go to the basic. And then Asian region, market is also important, but relatively speaking, other than market, policy mechanism and digital transformation might be huge influence on when you design the business project. So when you design a project in Asian region, even though it is a small startup or entrepreneurship, you have to think more on government policy factors, and you have to think more how to utilize digital transformation, not to mention over market environmental analysis. So when you design this kind of design thinking, especially focused on Asian region, market is important, but other than market, you have to think more. In addition, the governmental influence, and then the other one is how to make good use of digital transformation. And from this on, how to form a global business network. This is a process when you try to make a design thinking of business concept in Asian region. Now, I want to show you the difference international relations approach versus business development approaches. We already commented about the economic factors, and then in Asian market, governmental factors also make a huge influence on the business decision making in the market activities. Design for business development in Asian, repeatedly, I want to say that big success comes in EV supply chain or the manufacturing sectors. But this is a big success. It's a huge investment among multinationals. But you also could make a chain of small successes, especially in hospitality industries, tourism, restaurant, hotel, and F&B, food and beverage, something like that. So what you have to do is how to organize this kind of chain of small successes based on hospitality sectors. There is a point you have to get utilized of this kind of big opportunity into generating your own business. And then I want to comment about two approaches and the difference between international relations approach and global business development approaches. You know, international institutes such as a United Nations or UNIDO or UNICEF or other UNESCO, something like those kind of international institute, they try to give us strength and then encourage less developed countries to set up a plan for the business or economic development. And then they keep to international relations approach. They think the less developed countries, that the less developed countries' economic perspective, economic system are not well organized. So international institute, when they try to give a transfer or ODA fund to other less development countries, they pumped a huge amount of money into the government of the less developed country. And they expect the government, they make a plan for the development of economic society, and then by way of those kind of economic plan, they redistribute this kind of huge money international fund for the development of social community, something like that. And they kept this kind of approach even after the 1960s till now. But there is no success cases. There's no success stories at all. Why? Because this kind of international relations approach driven by the International Institute, they just giving money to the government and then let them go. And then government will do well with operating those money. That's all. But the governments in the less developed countries, they are not smart, and then even they hide money comes from the International Institute. So the money comes from the International Institute, does not go to social development, and then does not change the market situation at all. So quite recently, they try to change the different approaches, and then existing international relations approach, which is driven by the International Institute, they proved no effect at all. And global business development approach totally opposite. They make money to the market. I mean, to the startup, and then encouraging startup to make a inclusive partnership among startups. The International Institute give a fund, and then international multinational companies, they make a donation to make an inclusive partnership among startups. And then this startup pass through the market test, and then market, they compete with their rivals and gain competitiveness in the market, and then they try to make a satisfaction of customers and so like that. And then when they survive, they could contribute for the social development, and finally they could make an evolution in the government operation. And this kind of global business development approach shows that from the bottom to the top approach, on the other hand, existing international relations approach tends to top to bottom up. So this is the big difference. Nowadays, international institute, they also they change their approaches from the international relations approach to the business development approach. Then what kind of stuff, what kind of business project should be got a privilege privilege to finance, and then what kind of money should be spent to what kind of business project? That is a question. And then to pass this kind of priority test that many business startups, they have to show them by way of their business project, we could contribute for the social development, we could contribute to create the social values, something like that. So in summary, International Institute, they make a donation to the government in the less developed country, and the government, they pump the international donation to the market, but it becomes useless, it becomes invalid. So nowadays, international fund moves and then get finance to the market first. And then when the market, some projects survive, then those kind of survived startup, they could gain competitiveness, and then they could increase the level of survivor competency, and they could change the government. This is a new trend. So on condition that you make a game-changing startups, and then they succeed in establishing the startup ecology, startup network, then what the market could change is the government. They can never change the market. So business design, what kind of business design thinking is needed is business design for a development with technological innovation, and not to mention all the social contribution. That is concept as a global startup you yourself have to have when you design your business concept in the perspective of design thinking. Now, how to apply a business canvas model is a typical business model to materialize your design thinking concept into detailed checklist or detailed planning processes. And that we already know that when you're doing a global business, there are 4 risks you have to add other than the domestic risks, so-called 4C risks. Cultural risk, and then country risk, and then currency risk, and commercial risk, or something like that. And the cultural risk and country risk refers to the non-economic factor risks, something from the different people factor and different system factor. It tells the cultural risks from people with the different people. They are different in their languages, different cultures, different race, different customs, something like that. It's a people factor, the preferences. And the other one is the system factor. Social system might be different. Administration system might be different from the country to country, which might be a source of cultural risks. So when you're doing a global business, you have to overcome these 2 risk factors of people, risk factors of the system, more than anything else. And after that, you have to go over to the economic factors, and then related with the market factors. Even though you got gain of competitiveness in the market, you have to think more on the currency risks, which is a foreign exchange volatility, foreign exchange rate fluctuations could be influence on the performance of your economic performance in the foreign market. Now, finally, once you figure out the risk factors, I mean, the additional risk factors when you're doing business and internationally, including 4 Cs, now you have to make a concrete of your business project into the framework, so-called business model. That one of the typical business model is the business canvas model. What is business canvas model? Is a template checklist to develop a document business models. And then this business canvas model help you describe your customer, the value you bring, and how you bring it, and how you create revenue and activity you need to operate. This is a business canvas model, and why this kind of business canvas model is needed. It could offer a quick and straightforward way to discuss and describe your business model and work on it with a large group of people, and it could provide a snapshot of your business you could easily present to stakeholders without providing a full business plan. And how to make a business canvas model? There is a step of 7 steps. First, more than anything else, a value proposition is very important. What you have to create as a result of implementing your business, there is a value position. And then this kind of value, traditionally, it means sales value, sales performance. But nowadays, social value is also important when you design this kind of business model. What could you contribute in the process of your doing business in local community, in attaining the social goal? That is also important. We already know in Asian countries there are many social issues, something like gender inequality problem, and then poverty problem, and other safety, health, something like that, infrastructure inefficiency problem, and so on. And then by way of your business, by way of you're doing your startup in that local country, what you could attain from the perspective of social value attainment. And to get a chance, those kind of business opportunity, more than anything else, you have to make a concrete what customer you have to satisfy, and then what is your loyalty customer, and so on. And then how to doing marketing activity to make a satisfaction of your loyal customers. That is a step 3. And after that, you have to think how to distribute, how to make a transfer over your marketing asset to the final customers to maximize their satisfaction. And then what kind of key activities and the key resources is needed to make a business network with your partners. And then who is your strategic partner? So make an alliance, then what partners are needed, and then how to make alliance with the partner, not completing of business interest or business goals, performances, something like that. And then by way of harmonizing a business model, coexistence of business model, then you could gain a cooperative relationship with key partners. And then how much revenue is expected, and how much cost is expected, and then as a result, what kind of economic performance is to be expected. There is an impact. And then here the impact, traditionally, sales impact. Traditional sales impact is the thing that you could get as a result of your business canvas model. But nowadays, other than sales impact, what kind of social impact is also to be expected. This is also important nowadays when you design a business canvas model. So roughly speaking, a business canvas model looks like this, and then ultimate goal of your business canvas model is how to attain value position, value, even though it is a sales value, but also social value. This kind of value should be attained by way of your business model, by way of impact, sales impact, and social impact. And in the process of implementing to attain this kind of social value and sales value in the future, what kind of things you have to do, and then how to generate the value to meet the customers, and then doing marketing activities, and then connecting the distribution channel with the related parties. And other than this kind of competencies, you yourself have to make, but make an alliance with your cooperative partners, and then what kind of key partners is needed, how to form your business partner within the framework of the inclusive partnership, and then what kind of key activity is needed, and then what kind of key resources should be got within this kind of alliance. So this is the alliance or a partnership. Whereas this right part is how to gain competitiveness or competency. So it's your task and it's our task. And this is a big picture of the business canvas model. So once again, I will value position by way of attaining social impact and sales impact is a key point you have to get in the future. And in two ways you have to do is how to gain core competency in your business model, customer and marketing activity, and forming a distribution channel. There's a key point you have to gain to get a competitive core competence in the market. And another part is that rather than competition strategy, how to implement a cooperative strategy, how to make a partnership, and how to make an alliance rather than competition. There is a point. How to form a cooperative partnership is another thing you have to make into your strategy. This is the business canvas model, and then who is your key partners, and then what is the key activities among alliances, and then what kind of key resources you have to get as an input, something like that. And this is a basic brief explanation about what the business model contains, and then how business model works each other sector by sector, like that. And now, finally, I try to give you an example of what kind of design thinking, what kind of conceptual approaches to make a profit in the market, not to mention of generate a social contribution for the social community. One of the example I repeatedly comment about these cases is a dot watch. For the blind, that keeping time is very important. So young university students, they generated this kind of dot watch. This is a braille watch, which for the blind people, this is a braille, and the blind people, they touch the watch, touch on the watch, and then they could keep time. But nowadays, with the help of multinationals, nowadays new business model. This is a dot pad. Think about braille textbook is very thick, and then mainly made of papers. But huge papers should be wasted, and then braille textbook is very thick. But this is a tablet, but there is a braille here, and then using this technology, that technology, and then just touch the screen of the tablet, that you could read the braille. This is a new invention, and then by way of business model, they could change the world, they could change the society, and they could contribute for the development and the advancement of the inequality in a community. This is a good example. And another example is in the less developed country, they spend most of time to getting drinkable water. Also, university student, rather than just delivering water in a bottle, and that rolling water tank. This is also a university student they design this kind of model. And nowadays, multinationals have this design into like this as a bigger waterfall. There's another case you have to think about it, how to change the world by your business project. That is one of key point. And this is also the example when the university students, they spend their time as an exchange student in some African countries that local people, they drink very dirty water with this kind of straws. This is a branch of a tree, and then this dirty water they drink. But the reason when they analyze why they use this kind of straw, and then this branch of a tree, they got a membrane within a branch. So finding this, and then they design this light straw, and then they install the membrane into the bottle, and then purifying water in a bottle, and they turn this business model into this kind of drinkable water tank, and then make a donation into that region. This is the way you could change the social community for advancement by way of your business model. Once you succeed in the market with your business model, first get a survivorship, gain a competitiveness in the market, and after that, you could got a room, you could got a what I meant, the kind of power to make a contribution for this kind of design, and this kind of project for the advancement of the less developed countries. And this is a vegan leather, especially made of bamboo, and then made of cactus. So this is also for the contributing for the social community, and then this is also university students, they designed this kind of business project. Even though superficially it looks like a leather, but made of cactus, and then it also promotes further environmental condition, and then social condition like this. And Singapore students, they designed this kind of robotic tree. With the development of this robotic tree, they plant a seed of tree in this area, and then in the long run, that this robotic tree, they sprout out the tree, and then finally they move into like this old-grown trees, and then from this robotic tree, and then reimplant this tree into this area. And zip line, due to COVID-19, that exchange student, they designed with the development of drone technology, they send medicine or the medical service toward the remote areas. There is a zip line case. This is all for my lecture, and then this shows you how you could change the social situation by way of your business project. This is the way the global business development aims at. Okay, this is all for my special lecture, and then I hope you got a chance to set up a plan for the business development project. Okay, thank you for listening, and then I hope you got a good interest about global business project. Thank you.